There is but one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good, omnipotent.
The first song is by Karen Drucker. Thank you for this beautiful day.
Thank you. I want to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. 'Cause I'm so grateful. So grateful. Oh, grateful. I'm so grateful. So I want to say thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit. Thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Now thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. This healing, this healing, this healing day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit. Thank you for this day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. This beautiful, this beautiful, this beautiful day. I want to say thank you. Thank you. I want to say thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I want to say thank you. Say thank you. 'Cause I'm so grateful. So grateful. So grateful. So grateful. So grateful. So grateful. I'm so grateful. I want to say thank you. Say thank you. Yes, thank you. I want to say thank you. Say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. 'Cause I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I want to just say thank you now. Just thank you now. 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 Each and every day I'm gonna say thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I just want to say that that song's great with coffee.
Are there any announcements?
I guess next week's speaker is Jamie Walters, and then after that is our famous Jerry Neary, and then Jody Kessler for the following week.
There are some events happening here in this building. On Wednesday, we start a new book group with a film,
Oh, good.
and it's an award-winning film from way back in the late 70s, I believe. And everybody is welcome, 12 noon in the parlor. And it's we're starting the book, The Hidden Life of Trees, led by
Wonderful.
The Garners and
the Garners and Reverend Suggs. So this would be wonderful if you would, if you're
What
free
day?
to join and
Wednesday.
let other people know.
Oh, Wednesday.
So Wednesday at 12 noon, it
At
runs
12
about
noon.
an hour. And we'll start with the film and a little discussion to enter into that book reading.
and the film is The Man Who Planted Trees. Have you heard of that book before?
The Man Who
The Man Who
Planted.
Planted Trees. It's only a 1/4 inch thick, young adult kind of book. But it's the story of a desolate landscape and this elderly couple who lived nearby, and he just made it his practice to collect acorns, and he had a steel rod, and he would just on his walks ram the rod into the ground and drop an acorn and step on the hole and move on.
Wow.
And he did 100 per day
Wow.
for years and years and years. And then right near the end of his life, he's at a lecture given by somebody, an expert on ecology, talking about how this land came back of itself. And he's sitting there in the audience. And so it has this little twist at the end. But it's a wonderful book, wonderful film that you'd enjoy.
And what country was this in and what?
I think France. It was post-World War II France. One of the
Post-World War.
desolated areas from bombing.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then we also have what you can, Lent is being celebrated at this time, so there's soup and a service on Wednesday night.
Patient service.
And meditation service starts at 6, so you're welcome to come to that too. It's maybe 5, 6 soups and some bread, free with donation if you want. And that's downstairs. In the basement, there's a big area with a kitchen. And we have soup. Yeah, we have soup, and then they can go to the meditation service.
And then following that is the Course in Miracles,
Mm-hmm.
starting at 7:30 during the Lenten season up until Easter, and then we'll resume 6:30. So let
The
friends know
soup and the
everybody's
company
welcome.
down there is wonderful.
Yeah, we went last week, a couple of us from here. It was great, yeah.
Sounds nice.
They had the best vegan
Yeah.
chili
Oh, good.
that I've had.
That was delicious.
Yeah. So hopefully they'll have it again.
Yeah, but now how many vegan chilies have you had?
Probably.
That might have been the first one. I think that's the first one.
I've had a couple, and I'm sure
I think you're right, that's the first one.
And I am jumping ahead a little bit on the calendar, but I know calendars fill up a lot quickly for a lot of people. So on the 22nd here at this church, after the main service, there will be a forum on racism, anti-racism. And so that is also open to people, anybody who's interested. So please, mark your calendars. And if
What time is that?
After the service.
Oh,
So
okay.
at 11 o'clock, we'll probably shortly after the coffee hour.
So I suggest everybody go to that.
Yeah. That would be really good.
What day is it?
That's
Next
a
week?
Sunday,
22nd.
Sunday the
Oh,
22nd.
22nd.
And I noticed as I was driving here, since a number of us have been reading books on that subject and just having discussion groups, that they're at the church at the end of Front Street and Riverside Drive, they're having a dinner, spring dinner on the 21st. So that would be a really nice precursor if we would mix and mingle with people of other cultures and enjoying that. So,
That would be
there's a
good.
lot going on in this community. Nobody could be bored.
Yeah, it's all the time. You can go 3 or 4 things in one day.
Yeah. Are there any other announcements?
And March 21st is actually either March 21st or the 20th is Earth Day.
It's
So we usually,
solstice, right?
And then also the solstice, yes, and then Earth Day, I believe, too.
Earth Day was April.
Is it April?
Yeah, April.
Oh,
April.
oh well, I'm a month ahead.
Carol?
Hi. I would like to say that I just came back from Phoenix and Sedona. And I was at a thrift store and found this fabulous book, 21 Days to Forgiveness.
Mm.
And what is amazing about it, because it's basically the entire Course in Miracles, which is all about forgiveness, but it is joining with doing the tapping, the EFT. So Spirit has sent me a wonderful young woman who teaches that. Her name is Kathy, I believe. So this is really amazing if you are going through any type of fear, anxiety, or illness. By forgiving yourself and everyone in the world, you heal, really. And you bring your vibration up by doing this tapping on your meridians. So we'll be doing this over at 301 Main Street in Vestal. I'm opening a center for higher consciousness.
Thanks.
So it'll be fun. But this is really amazing because all of us are holding ourselves back. We're spirits and we can heal everything.
Amen.
Thank you.
Has anybody practiced?
EFT, oh yeah, me too,
I did
yeah.
it a little bit just on my own.
Really
Yeah, I
very
like it, I
helpful.
like tapping my head.
I haven't really done it
There's
seriously.
EFT tapping, and then there's thought field tapping. They're similar, but they're a little different.
What's the other top?
Tapping EFT.
Thought field tapping.
Oh,
A
that
little
one.
bit different than EFT.
Right, the whole thing on YouTube about that, right? The tap
Yeah,
detector.
oh, they have loads over
I
there.
have a handout.
Right.
And I also want to say that we've had two days in a row of blue skies in Binghamton, New York. Congratulations. That took a lot of prayer.
I was gonna drag out some spring up in today, but we're getting snow Tuesday, I think.
Oh, we are? Oh.
That.
We have to do some prayers.
No, I'm
Everything
still
else.
saying this.
You gotta do your prayers, that's all. And your tapping.
Any other announcements?
Well, I was gonna say thank you for the reminder about tapping. I'm on Deepak Chopra's listserv, and I keep meaning to do that.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
You know when I do it in
I
the
know.
shower every morning?
That,
Oh, good, good
I
idea.
did a little bit of that, but I think it's time.
It really does loosen and let it go.
Yes.
Yeah, we should do that right now.
Yeah, we could, yeah.
I should have thought of that. Are there any other announcements? Oh, great. We have some new members with us. Yeah,
Not totally new.
not totally.
We've been to
Yeah.
Unity when,
One was in Endicott.
Endicott.
We used to go quite frequently.
because we
but
live close to there.
Now it's all the way in Binghamton. We live in Vestal Center, so it's a pretty good little ways out.
Well, almost.
Yeah, almost Vestal Center.
Well, it's nice to see you here.
Yeah,
So last time I saw you was at the yoga center.
right.
So it's time to greet your neighbors.
Do we welcome, do you want to say the welcome? We have to open our hearts.
The new
New member, well, we're first gonna do the new member welcome.
Oh, doing a new member welcome?
Yeah, she forgot to read it, yeah. We open our hearts and doors
We open our hearts and
doors to new individuals and families. We know that the right and perfect people are joining us at the right and perfect time.
Amen.
Amen. Okay, now we can greet.
box in the back. Add your prayers and call in to silent unity. And so we'll do the blessing of our prayer requests now. God's all-encompassing love is doing its perfect work in and through us. Wholeness is established in every area of our lives, and so it is. And Carol, would you read the daily blessing? Someone has it?
She has it already, Lorna has it.
Sure, I usually remember to bring it.
Oh, great, thank you.
I find time enough for all I desire to accomplish. How will I best spend my time and my resources on this beautiful spring day? I begin by remembering my spiritual inheritance, my divine faculties that provide all I need to meet any opportunity or any challenge that life presents. I also follow the example of Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore. I spring forth with a mighty faith to do the things that ought to be done by me. I use divine order to prioritize my agenda. My wisdom and understanding show me the most effective way I can complete each task. I use strength and zeal to maintain my energy and enthusiasm. Love keeps me focused on the good my efforts are accomplishing. Through the faculty of elimination, I release whatever I discern is not mine to do. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. Philippians 4:13.
And I add, if
So it
you look at
is.
the 12 powers of man, most of them are listed right in that one reading.
Ah,
The faculties that they describe there,
oh,
Charles Fillmore's 12 powers.
Thank you. We need to backtrack to the special unity moments. Does anyone have anything that they would like to share? Special unity moment.
I went yesterday, was it yesterday? Today is what, Sunday? St. Patrick's Day Parade, was it yesterday?
Yes.
It feels like 2 days ago. But I went to St. Mary's yesterday for the St. Patrick's Day Mass. And it was so beautiful. It's a beautiful church. My first time in St. Mary's from the 1800s. And it was packed. Hundreds of people. Standing room only. And a beautiful service with the bagpipers, which is my favorite. So they had like about 30 of them, the whole band, and they played 3 songs, and so it brought me, to tears and chills, chills and thrills. And a singer, soloist that was beautiful, this male soloist, Nanny, the last name?
Yeah, Stephen Nanny.
Stephen Nanny.
He's always good.
Oh, he was so good.
Yeah, he's
He was so beautiful. And then all kinds of dignitaries. The mayor was there. He had a special sash on with the colors of Ireland, and it said mayor. It looked like a movie, like I was in The Wizard of Oz or something. And the Syracuse, what do they call them? Bishop from Syracuse. So they had all kinds of people there. So it was just amazing. So it was nice to be able to see another denomination again, and then see the oneness and the unity. People getting in touch with spirit and feeling the spirit, and it's just community. So I thought it was a blessing.
Well, Con had me to mix a few things up in the schedule, but as you bring that up, going back to what's out and available in the community, at St. Patrick's there is a beautiful concert scheduled for the 14th, so that's another thing to add to your schedule of events that's available. But back to special moments, you're sitting here. I was at a party.
Oh.
And just off by myself, and Judy came over and we hit up a conversation. We'd seen each other at various events here in this church, and started to talk, and we spoke about family and events and our mothers and her
Nursing.
mother.
Nursing.
And nursing, and I started to talk about nursing, and as it is, I was unable to go to my friend's funeral. I had something going on in my life, and I had heard about the death of a friend, a lovely woman that I worked with, Judy's mom. And it was just so lovely that we sat there talking for a good 45 minutes, and then she said, "You knew my mom." Just a a lovely.
And I just feel like every time we get together, my mom's with us.
Oh,
Yeah, she's a lovely person. Very bright, very spiritual, and she gave a lot to the patients and to us too. She was
Thank
a
you,
lovely
Carol.
person. So, we did the daily word, and now for prayer and meditation. So if you can, settle yourself and welcome to the people coming in, and maybe free your lap of anything, and feet flat on the floor, head, neck, and trunk in alignment, and sit for a few moments in silence, closing your eyes gently if that feels comfortable for you. Exhaling and inhaling slowly and deeply. And just take a moment to center yourself from all the activities and all the activities we talked about. All the activity outside this room, you could hear the voices murmuring. You might hear sounds outside of the room and outside of the building. And as you notice them and become more and more aware in the quiet silence, just welcome them so they don't become an intrusion, that life can go on around us, and still take that time to pull yourself into center, to allow that to happen. It is not necessarily you pulling yourself to center. Staying with the breath, exhaling and inhaling slowly and deeply without any noises, pauses, or jerks. Feel the gentle rise and fall of the area just above your navel. And relax your face and your teeth and jaw. You roll back your shoulders and allow your posture to open up. And just rest and relax. Feeling the breath that supports you, that sustains you. Share a chant that recognizes the intelligence within this silence that is within all of us. Sahana bhavatu, sahano hunatu, saha viryam karavavahe, teja svina vahidamastu, ma vivishavahe. Om Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, peace, peace. And when you're ready, open your eyes. And bring your attention to the breath. A little prayer is one that I like to say before I speak in front of anyone in a group. I used to be quite familiar speaking in groups, and things got sort of stirred up, so standing up here again is a little difficult for me because it's like a new me. It's like, who am I? Who is this? There's a lot of changes happening. Some challenging, and some that are supporting that challenge, helping me move through that challenge, internally as well as externally, many of the people in this room. So we have a song now, right?
Yes.
Thank you, that was great.
The song is on the back of your papers. Is the microphone working okay, Mary?
Yeah, I can hear it. Good.
So this song's called What Matters.
up, lift someone else up. It's no fun playing the victim, but you can choose a new role today. I can stop myself from complaining. All I have to do is stop. You can stop yourself from complaining. All you have to do is stop. Every day is a new beginning. I wonder what will happen next. Every day is a new source of energy. Every day is a new mystery. I can stop myself from repeating patterns that don't serve me. You can stop yourself from repeating patterns that don't serve you. A friend told me you are wealthy, has nothing to do with money. You are wealthy in what matters. It has to do with self-love. I can stop myself from comparing what I have with others. I can stop myself from comparing who I am with others. What matters to me, what matters is love. What matters to me, what matters is love.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Is within all of us, and it is recognizing that within myself and recognizing it within you, and hoping, praying, and openness to whatever is exchanged here is a good thing, and so it's a blessing for us. So I would say I leave it to me to mix it up because I am so unprepared in a lot of ways, because I've been practicing this unpreparedness. Spontaneous, yes.
Me too.
I like that.
That's good.
That's more positive. That sounds good.
Yeah. Heartfelt.
I saw all the teachers
Living in
going,
the moment.
huh? All the teachers going, art, I mean, all those times I had to do. I have a friend who's a minister, and he says, I'm working on my talk. I'm like, what? Carol reminds me to just speak from the heart. And
Yeah.
sometimes the heart can get jumbled up because it's full of all kinds of feelings, emotions, and memories. And so things do get kind of mixed up and stirred up. So bear with me if that is not your style.
I would like to add that each of us are a work in process, and we're changing and growing in the most divine ways. And the fact that you are here being so divinely wonderful to share with us all the knowledge that you have.
Oh my.
I mean, you truly have vast experience spiritually to share with us. We're grateful. Thank you.
I have been fortunate to have a lot of really wonderful people pass through my life and are still with me. And many of them are in this room, all of you, that I have come to know have touched my life in so many ways. And I think that's it, is just to recognize that just being in community with people, like-minded people, that you gain from that, and hopefully you do get by acknowledging that your presence matters, that that your words, your thoughts, and your preparedness and unpreparedness matters. I didn't have anything necessarily prepared, and then my friend Rose says, "How would this song work?" And so the song that she just sang, and I thought, this is so perfect, because so many people criticize and complain, and myself included, and it's a pattern I certainly heard over and over when I was growing up and working in the hospital. I had a lot of people with a lot of complaints and concerns. And working in addictions, I had a lot of people who had a lot of complaints and concerns, some real, some contrived to support what was going on in their life that stood in their, complaints that stood in their way, a self-sabotage. And when we take a look at how that is a self-sabotage, where we could take a look at some of the language that we're using that holds us back, and the language that other people can remind us that we could think of things differently and make a change, move forward, and move through any challenge, that we really do have that power. And what helps that external exchange that we get from friends and spiritual advisors is that taking it in and sitting quietly, like we did at the beginning of this, to say, you know, how do I use this? And just sit with that and wait for that answer to come, so that you can get to the realm of possibilities in that field, rather than the limited vision of our own everyday experiences, to take those few moments to come within and to get to that field where there are all possibilities in a single moment that make you make maybe baby steps and maybe a big leap, where things change dramatically in an instant in your life. So I didn't prepare a lot, but last evening I thought, coming here, I should think about something. And I sat quietly, and I remembered, as we were talking about complaints and stopping, listening to the lyrics of the song, about how the body can get so conditioned to a thought that we have. And so when we feel, this thought came from a book that I read by Dr. Joe Dispenza, if any of you are familiar.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And how the body can hold that visceral reaction to a thought that may be limiting, so that when we want to make a change and stop complaining or stop criticizing ourselves or others, it may feel odd, it may feel different. Like, did I just say that? And that feels not right. Oh no, I'm a fraud. This is wrong. It's because the body will come up, and those feelings that have been trapped in the physical body can come up and affect the mind, and then all those thoughts will come in that are self-limiting. So when you try a new thing, like cognitive behavioral therapy, when you try a new phrase, then you feel very uncomfortable. And all of those negative thoughts can come. But it is really just saying, stop. There was a comedian on TV that used to say that. Do you remember that fellow who worked as a psychiatrist?
Bob Newhart.
Bob Newhart. He would just say, stop doing that. Just stop. And sometimes we have to shock ourselves or be shocked. And I know, I remember working with a patient who was going through a really difficult time. And he just was just determined with his language to hold on to the way he was thinking. And like yelling, I stood up, because he would yell at me. I stood up and I went over to his face. He got so, he just was like, wow, this is different. And it sort of shook him. I said, this is what you do to other people. No one can reach you when you're screaming at them. I've seen him around, and he's thanked me for that. I probably could have gotten fired for being that forceful, but
It worked.
I really was, I was really, what did you say?
I said, for the record, it wasn't me.
Jerry, I could always count on you. So it was like a mirroring, yeah, you say that 3 times. Mirroring of a person, and he saw himself. So we can be reflections to each other. We are really reflections to each other. And that was just an extreme example, but it really worked. So, so to recognize that, I don't know, how are you with all complaints and criticisms and self-criticisms? How are you with that?
Mad.
Yeah, I'm getting tired of
Mad.
it. I'm getting tired of it. And I've been doing Ho'oponopono.
Yes.
Whenever I notice that happening, and then I do the prayer.
What is the prayer?
It's a Hawaiian prayer that says, let's see, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you.
You say it to yourself.
You say it to yourself, yeah.
You could say it to others, and you could say it to yourself. Yes.
Yeah, as soon as I see, or I say something, or I see it, a complaint, or something negative, or fear,
So I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you.
yeah,
you.
sorry,
And
please,
thank you.
and thank you.
Say Ho'oponopono, it means make things right. I say it every day over and over.
Yeah, yeah, many times.
So I wanted to say something about church in general, that friends of mine said, oh, you know, your only day off is really Saturday. And I said, well, I'm helping a friend be acclimated to our area. So I helped him move here and get a doctor and all this furniture and all of that. So every weekend I've been a little tired. And they said, well, you're not going to church tomorrow, are you? Because, you know, you look terrible and you're exhausted. But here's the thing. Here's the funny thing is I said, what better time to go to church? And because I'm accepted, I feel accepted in my community, so I may not look great, but I feel great because I've helped others, I've been purposeful. And I said, there's no better time than that. And they were complaining, well, I'm not going to go to church if I don't look good or if I don't, you know, have enough money or whatever it is. And I said to them, but those are the times to go to church. And that's what people are missing is the communion of other people and the acceptance, the allowing of acceptance and love in their lives through going through a church that is affirming and accepting. So it's very important to have friends around like that. So I came and I knew that I don't think people would judge me on how I looked or how prepared I was today or unprepared. I came, I showed up, and I'm enjoying myself. And that was all that mattered. And I let them know that you're missing out, and I'm not going to miss out. And the complaining, it really isn't relevant because they could get more out of life by being here.
And much like Rose's song, we're lifted up when we come here, and we lift others up. And in that lifting, we are lifted. You know, people lift us, we lift them, and we keep
Keep it
moving
going.
forward. Here.
I would just like to say, I have lived in many, many states around the country and have gone to churches. But I find Binghamton to be the most amazing, uplifting, and awake people.
It's good to hear.
And at this
I
church,
don't usually hear that.
art over here is so loved. It is such a high vibration. Truly, as I look around the room, everyone here is a star. And we're here to help people be happy and love yourself whatever you are. And we're always a work in process. How exciting is that? So even at 86, I can feel totally alive because I'm a work in process. And if I'm here, it's wonderful, and if I leave, it's wonderful. Because we're eternal, fabulous beings. And there's so much to be grateful for. I love to think that gratitude be our only attitude, that we have all come together and that we're going to be able to help the world. I would like to see us with Vera shooting more videos of us all being the star we came to be. And to allow ourselves to be a bit more foolish, because the Course in Miracles teaches that we fell out of heaven when we forgot to laugh. So if we could be a little silly, that could be wonderful. I'm sorry.
Thank you, you're
Well,
awesome.
a dear Swami of mine said, you need to be a goofball. My daughter was in the audience of that lecture, and she goes, well, we've got to start there. Thank you, Jenny. You were going to say something?
Oh, a long time ago, I was gonna say, I keep forgetting the Hawaiian thing to say, so sometimes I catch, and I'm grateful that I can be more aware all the time when I'm thinking something that, where I need to say cancel clear, cancel clear.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
Often people who stand up here, and I'll speak for myself, I mean, I'm not saying anything we all don't know, especially for those people who meditate. It's in there. We just, we might forget about it. It's in the access file, but it's in the back. And then somebody says something and it's, and that, aha, I can do that. That's right. I haven't done that in a while, and it worked a long time ago, right? So, yes, so I was touched by the inspiration of Rose's song and the idea that we sometimes complain about ourselves, but we sometimes complain about others, and that the only way, the main way, the easiest way, the way that's really going to make any kind of solid change is to come with some self-love, and loving other people, accepting other people for who they are, how they are, where they're at. Doesn't mean that you deny your own feelings in response to them, but to pull it away from a sense of criticism, to watch the language that you're using, that you've been used to. And believe me, I've worked on this for years, and I still hear it. And I have such compassion for what my mother might have lived through and heard and generations before, and instead of feeling, well, I just grew up with this, and so of course it's coming out of my mouth, but now I just go, oh, hello, Mom. When it comes to a word or a phrase, will come out of my mouth, and I'll say, Mom. And that ho'oponopono, it helps, because it's, wow, what hurt you? There's such an element of compassion when you bring love to yourself and an observance of yourself, and then can bring it to another person, especially someone that we do deeply love and may not have even been aware, just because of some of the frustrations that people have had to deal with and not know how to move past it. So what love's got to do with it, I hope Tina is okay with that. But love is love is what makes the world go around. Love is what is there that gives us the juice, the spirit, the essence to even make those kind of changes and become aware of a way of not condemning ourselves or condemning others, but to enrich our lives. I have been reading a little bit on the Unity book, and Charles and Myrtle Fillmore were pioneers of mind and spirit. And I did write that down. I was reading the first few pages. They followed the visionary gleam. And I started to talk about Joe Dispenza's book, and about how when we see ourselves in that new vision, rather than how we might describe where we're at when we're stuck, when we use the creative source of visioning, that we can make those changes, and to recognize, to be aware that negative thoughts may come up, but that we can just, sort of like brush them off, as that young singer Taylor Swift says. Just let it go, shake it off, let it go, and just drop it off and follow forward with that visionary gleam. So I hope for all of us that we can remember that, putting the courage to step into faith and to not judge others and others by appearances, that there's so much more than that might meet the eye, and we're doing compassion. I know that you know all this. I know that you know all this, and the recognition in that early poem prayer is to recognize that we all really know this. So I wonder if you have any other thoughts on what I've said.
Any comments or any? Mary?
Well, an example of the power of love recently, my daughter has always kind of been in my shadow and thinks of me as being far more capable than she could ever be. So she grew up with a lot of resentment of me. We had a love-hate relationship that was, we would be on one side of that coin or the other on a regular basis. And she became a grandma a few weeks ago. And throughout that pregnancy, I have been shifting. She couldn't wait for that baby to be born, and so I have been shifting who the important person is from me to her a lot. And I get to still be the matriarch, which is fine with me, but she was the active grandma. And through that process, she got to relate a lot to what I went through when she was having, especially her first child. And we came to this wonderful, one day, both the baby and the mom were considered slightly high risk. Not that I believed that, but that's what the hospital said. Anyway, to make a very long story short, I said to my daughter, if both of them wind up in a high risk situation, who should go with whom? You need to make that decision. You are the grandma and the mother of the mother at this point. Who should do what? And she turned to me and said, well, you're better in crisis than I am, Mom, and you have more medical knowledge. So I want you to be with that one, and I will pick up the slack on the other end, and then we can communicate by cell phone and see where we go from there. That was huge for her, to just be able to acknowledge that I have certain gifts that she may not have developed, and to be comfortable in that space instead of threatened. And I had, just prior to that, I had given her all the accolades of her strengths and everything. I had been doing it actually for months, just pushing her strengths and her ability to do that, and she was able to respond, and I truly believe we have forged, now we are super good friends, and mother and daughter have taken a whole new wonderful turn by the gift of this new baby. And so there's love kind of all around that, you know, God is in a new baby for sure, and the gift of that has given me my daughter back. It's wonderful.
Yeah, it is wonderful.
That's beautiful, yeah.
Our daughters can challenge us, confront us, keep us
Oh, yeah.
congruent,
Oh, yeah.
and acknowledge our strengths and encourage us, and vice versa. They become our best and brightest in many cases. And I'm fortunate to have two daughters who I love really dearly, and they're tough. You hear that? I think I'm on video here. They're tough, but they're really wonderful people, and yeah, that's beautiful, Mary. Thank you for sharing. Keep us well and congruent, and show us what our strengths are. And that's what we do as loving people, as visionaries, as emissaries of light. So I appreciate your attention. I hope some of the things I said just sort of, you know, kind of shake up the mix, you know, like a salad dressing, you shake it up and help you to give some thought to your day today that will bring some of the the joy and faithfulness that an open heart would bring.
Thank you.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have a song?
Well, first we'll do the love offering.
Okay.
So thank you for your spontaneity.
Yes.
Well, I have a few little notes here, but they gave me some springboards. Thanks. Where are we next? Sorry, I have to do the format here. The love offering?
Yes. Hold your offering in your hand and we'll say together the love offering on your paper. Divine love through me, blesses and multiplies